The demands of life pull us in multiple directions every single day. Today, we're going to talk about how to integrate yourself with being the same person every day. As we go through life, we find ourselves putting on different hats every single day. And sometimes multiple hats in one day, multiple hats in a week, multiple hats in a month. But regardless, we find ourselves changing it. We have church hats, we have family hats, we have parenting hats, we have school hats, work hats, recreation hats, friend hats. The list of hats goes on and on and on. And sometimes it's really easy to find ourselves at the end of a day where we put on multiple hats, or at the end of a week putting multiple hats. Um, we feel fragmented. We feel disconnected from ourselves. We feel like there's a steep recharge that we need to do. And partly that's because we're changing who we are for each situation. Now, I know that sometimes there are needs for this. So obviously, if a surgeon is going to do surgery, that's a whole lot different than just playing with your child. I mean more of a general baseline sense where you go to church and you're one person. You're happy, you're high-fiving, you're hugging, you're enjoying those around you. And then you go to work and you're a curmudgeon. You're a jerk. You're capitalizing on people. If you have a boss and you don't like them, you're really grumpy, or maybe you're your own boss, or you are the boss and you're a total ass. Um, there can be a spectrum there where you're an ass Monday through Friday, and then when you get to church on Saturday night or Sunday, now all of a sudden you're a really nice person who's really generous and people love you. There's this disintegration of who we are with the different hats that we put on. And I want to share on how a simple tool to help you figure out how to reduce your actions to what I will call your best self, to be the consistent person in each situation. So, what we're talking about in this becoming an integrated self, being one person is what I call it, is this. I want you to reduce it down to, what hat are you wearing whenever you feel most activated? Think about that for a second. Which hat are you wearing when you feel most activated? I'm not using the word alive. Originally, I had that in my notes, but the activated. What ignites living inside of you? What ignites energy inside of you? I reduce the best hat, the hat that makes us most activated, to three things. What are the actions we're doing when we feel activated? What are the words we're speaking when we feel activated? And what are the tasks we're setting out to accomplish when we're feeling activated? For example, rewind to yesteryear. I'm a waiter, and simultaneously I'm interning at a church. And my passion at the time was the church and that church work. But I was also a waiter. And I would go to every single church service at this particular church. I would go to every single church service and I would volunteer on the prayer team for each service. So I would go for hours. We're talking 4 or 5 hours every Sunday just to go and volunteer and be on the prayer team. And I would go to the end of the service and I would go up to the front whenever they asked people who needed encouragement to be there. And I would pray for anybody and everybody. And my goal is to pray and encourage as many people as possible. So in that illustration, I felt very alive when I did that. And the words that I spoke, again, words, actions, and tasks. The words that I spoke were what I would consider to be life, or life-giving words to people who were seeking encouragement. That was the words I was speaking. The action I was doing was I was positioning myself and my schedule to create space so that people could be encouraged. So that was the action I was taking. I was positioning myself. The words were the encouraging words I was doing, and the action I was doing, I was creating space so that I could encourage. And the tasks that I set myself up to do was the prayer in and of itself. My words were the words spoken. My actions were the creating space so that I could encourage, and the tasks were actually doing the prayer. So I was setting myself up. And as I was going through this at this time in life, I recognized that I felt most alive when I was doing those things. So that was my journey. And here's the crazy thing that happened. As I was pursuing doing that and creating space for more people to hopefully be blessed, I would like to talk to some of those people now to see if it was encouraging or if it was crap. But I would like to think it was encouraging. And to go back and to reduce that to those actions and to put myself in that time whenever that was one of the most life-giving and activating things going on in my life. I was going to work one day and I felt like the Lord said, I want you to be one person. And I was like, what are you talking about? And again, I was thinking, what are you talking about? And he highlighted to me, I was two people. There was the church service me, which was the encouraging, the hugging, the loving, the praying, the one that sought good for others. And then there was the work me, the I'm a waiter, what would you like to eat? And I just did that work. Now, I wasn't a jerk when I was a waiter by any means. Otherwise, you don't get good tips. And what I felt like the Lord said is, I want you to be one person. I want you to integrate so that wherever you go, you are the same person. That was a challenge because I was like, oh, that's really hard because you're wanting me to serve. Now you're wanting me to serve more in the church role, in the place of service, like the server does. And simultaneously, you want me to pray and encourage in the workplace. And there's that integration that he was saying, be one person. So as we put on these different hats, my encouragement for you is to reduce down the thing when you find yourself most activated and most alive. I want you to reduce it down to what are the words, what are the actions, and what are the tasks that you're doing when you feel most activated. And when you can put a name to those, like I did, I created space for prayer. I created space to encourage. When you can reduce it down, you can then take those reduced themes, those reduced items, and then integrate those into each other hat. So now I'm taking my encouragement to the workplace. I'm taking my positivity to the workplace. I'm taking the prayer to the workplace. And ultimately, what I ended up doing, I started praying for my coworkers. And we can talk more about healing later. There were some healings that took place at work. There was encouragement that happened, and there was resistance that happened. It wasn't all sunshine and roses. There were some thorns, and there were some rainy days when I started to integrate. But I did serve more in the church, and I did start praying with my coworkers at a bar at 11:30 or midnight on a work night, and coworkers were getting healed. The process of integration, what activates you, take those big pieces and put them on your utility belt every single time put it on your utility belt so that every time you go and change your hat throughout the week, you're the same person. And that's the goal of the integration, is that we're consistently us. We find out who we are, and then we are that person consistently so that the hat doesn't change, that we're just one person. So, with that in mind, that's the basis. Instead of the fatigue from changing who we are, it's dialing down the things that activate us the most and figuring out that that's something that gives us life and encouragement. And when we reduce it down to those items, then we can apply those in every sphere of life, and we ultimately become one singular person. So that regardless of what circle you are, if someone else was to describe you, it would be the same words: encouraging, positive, generous, loving, caring. If you're caring at home and you're caring at work and you're caring when you go to your kids' sports games, you are a caring person. That's the goal. I hope this is encouraging. Thank you so much for joining Unbranded Christianity today. And remember, WAT, what words, actions, and tasks are you doing where you feel most activated, and how can you apply those in every single area where you are putting on a different hat? Much love. Have a great week, and I'll talk to you soon.